Hello, my little mathematicians. We're going to finish up the midterm study guide number 3 and do problems number 37 through 50. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one, number 37. So number 37 says, please write 54% as a decimal. There's two ways that I can do this. Anytime you see a percent means out of 100, right? So 54 hundredths, I can just jump straight to, I know that that's 0.54. Okay, otherwise, you could do 54 is the percent. If you remember dip, as of right now, when there's no decimal present, think of it like 54 bucks. I would be too lazy to write the 0.00, but it's implied that it's there, right? When there's no decimal present, it's at the end of the number, okay? I currently have a number that's a percent, and I want it to become a decimal. So the decimal right now is here. If I want it to become from a percent to a decimal, I'm going to move it 2 places to the left. So now it's before the 5. So 54% as a decimal is the same thing as 0.54. So whether you used dip to help you get there, or you just knew that percent means out of 100 and you could jump straight from this to the decimal, as long as you got 0.54, the world's a happy place. Okay, let's take a look at 38. Remember, please try these on your own at any point in time. Press pause on the video, try it, and then unpause and check yourself with us. Okay, 38 says, Sarah sold 12 tickets to the school play and Billy sold 16 tickets. Okay, so we're talking about Sarah sold 12. Billy sold 16. What is the ratio of the number of tickets Sarah sold to the number of tickets that Billy sold? Okay, so it wants the ratio of Sarah to Billy, right? So I want Sarah over Billy. Remember, in order to get credit, you always want to show your work neatly on a separate sheet of paper, not crammed in the margins. As long as you want credit, okay, if you're fine with a 0, you can cram it in there. But if you want credit, please show it neatly on a separate sheet of paper. All right, now that I have the ratio of Sarah to Billy, what was the number representing Sarah? Sarah sold 12 tickets and Billy sold 16 tickets. Once you have the ratio, if you can reduce it, please reduce it. And can anything go into both of these? Sure can. 4 can. So go ahead and reduce that. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. Can you reduce it again? Nope. So 3/4 is my fully reduced ratio for that one. Okay, number 39. Says, use cross products to solve the proportion of V over 5 equals 18 over 15. Okay, so if you use cross products, you set those diagonally across from each other. 15 times V equals, and 5 is across from 18, so 5 times 18. Type that into your calculator. Okay, you type that in, and 5 times 18 is 90. Equals 15V. And then how do you get V by itself? 15 times what is 90? Well, to figure that out, divide by 15, because anything divided by itself is 1, and now you have 1 times V, or just V. And whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So 90 divided by 15 is 6. So V is 6. Now I could have done this one with a shortcut. This way always works. Set the cross products equal to each other. So this times this equals this times this, and solve for the variable. That way always works. Sometimes you can do the shortcut. Can you multiply 5 times something to get 15? Yeah, 3. So then you would do something times 3 to get 18. And this is why I like always reminding myself, go in the direction of your variable. Okay, so my variable goes this way. So how did you get from 15 to 5? You actually divided by 3. So go 18 divided by 3, and you get 6. Okay, you still would have gotten the same answer. The shortcut is cool when it works, but sometimes people make that mistake where they go 5 times 3 is 15. So they go, oh, 18 times 3, and they get the wrong answer here. Always make sure you move towards the direction of your variable and then move this way, the same way that you moved for your variable. And then how'd you get from 15 to 5? You divide it by 3. So then going this way, what's 18 divided by 3? 6. Okay, again, that's a shortcut. And when it works, awesome. That's all the work you'd have to show. But this way always works. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, number 40. Number 40 says, find the GCF of 72 and 96. Okay, go ahead and try to think what number can go into both of those and then do a little ladder. Okay, pause the video and then come back and check. I started with 8. If you started with 2 or 4 or something else, that's fine. Okay, as long as we get to the same answer. I started with 8 because I knew 8 times what is 72, 9, and 8 times what is 96, 12. Okay, and that way I just got smaller numbers faster. I knew that 3 could go into both of those. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. Now, nothing else can go into both 3 and 4, so I'm done. It's just asking for the GCF, so it's just those numbers along the outside, which were 8 and 3. So when you multiply those, you got 24. Hopefully, as long as you kept going until you couldn't go anymore, and then you ended with a 3 and a 4 here, all the numbers along your outside should have multiplied to 24 as well, no matter what you started with. Okay, 41. 11 is what percent of 90? If necessary, round your answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, this is where it's helpful to remember is over of equals percent over 100, right? Okay, so we have 11 is what percent of 90? Okay, the percent is the easiest one to start with. It either has a percent sign or it says the word what percent. And when it's an unknown, it's a variable. So the percent for this one is going to be X, and this number is always 100. Now I need to determine which one's the is and which one's the of. Well, it says 11 is, so 11's the is. What percent of 90? So 90 is the of. Now I have my proportion set up, so let's go ahead and solve using cross products. So 90 is across from X, so let's go 90 times X. Equals 11 is across from 100, so 11 times 100. Okay, 90x, I just bring down. 11 times 100 is 1100. Now, what do you do to get x by itself? Okay, hopefully you said that you're going to divide both sides by 90. Because 90 divided by 90 is 1, so you have 1x equals whatever you do to one side, do to the other. And you have 1100 divided by 90, you get 12.22 and whatever. Okay, it said round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So I only needed to go out one number further than the tenths place. And this 2 tells this 2 to remain exactly what it is. So my answer is 12.2. Remember, if the number behind the one you're focusing on is 5 or above, this would go up by 1. If the number behind it is 4 or below, this would stay whatever it is. And my unknown that I was solving for was the percent. So I need my unit of percent. Okay, if you're getting all these right, good job. If not, make note of it and then put a little star next to it, and then we can look over more problems similar to the ones that you missed later. Okay, number 42 says, the Anderson family is preparing for a family reunion. They think they will need 18 juice boxes for every 6 children who attend. How many juice boxes will they need if they're expecting 26 children? Okay, so for 42, we're talking about juice boxes and children. Okay, they first said they know that they're going to need 18 boxes of juice for every 6 child. How many juice boxes? So we don't know how many juice boxes we'll need if they're expecting 26 children. Can we do our shortcut of 6 times something to get 26? Nope. So let's do cross products. 6 is diagonally across from x. So we're going to do 6 times x equals 18 is diagonally across from 26. So let's multiply those. Okay, you bring down 6x equals 18 times 26. Go ahead and multiply that out. You can type it into your calculator now to check it, but remember on the midterm, we're probably not going to be allowed to use a calculator. So go ahead and try to multiply that number out and then check it with a calculator. Okay, now I have this because 18 times 26 is 468. And to solve for x, 6 times what is 468? Well, to figure that out, I'm going to divide by 6, okay, because anything divided by itself is 1, and now you have 1x equals whatever you do to one side, do to the other. 468 divided by 6. Okay, go ahead and work that out. Pause it. Okay, if you're back with us, you checked yourself, and you should have gotten 78. So what is that talking about? They're going to need 78 juice boxes. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. The next one is number 43. And it's saying, find the quotient of 3.6. That came first, so that goes inside the house. And that's being divided by 4.5. So the number you're dividing by goes outside. If the divisor, the thing you're dividing by, has a decimal, you need to move the decimal to get rid of it. And however many times you move it in the divisor, move it the same amount in the dividend. Okay, now you have 45 into 36. Can 45 go into 3? No. Can 45 go into 36? No. So add a decimal and a 0. Now you have 45 into 360. Can that go in? Yes. How many times? Well, think 4 goes into 36 9 times. So try 45 times 9. And I can already tell that 4 times 9 is 36. And when I'm going to add this to it, it's going to be too big. So let's try 45 times 8. That's 40. 32 plus 4 is 36. So 8 goes in exactly 360 times. So what's my answer? 0.8. Moving right along. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next one of number 44. Number 44 says write 0.48 as a percent. Okay, well, the easiest way, if I remember DIP, decimal to a percent means move it to the right. So move the decimal 1, 2 places to the right. You have 48%. Easy peasy. Okay, or 0.48 is 48 hundredths, and any number over 100 is a percent. All right, so either way, as long as you got 48%, we're good. Okay, next one. 45. Number 45 says write 70% as a fraction in simplest form. Okay, so 70%. When you see the word percent, that means that number out of 100. Okay, there you go. It's a fraction. And it said it wanted it in simplest form. You could divide by 10, okay, which means you just cancel those zeros from top to bottom. So now you have a 7 over 10. Can you reduce that anymore? Nope. Done. 7/10 is the same thing as 70%. Okay, 46 says a recipe calls for 10 tablespoons of milk for every 15 cups of flour. So we're talking about milk to flour. And 10 tablespoons of milk for every 15 cups of flour. If the chef puts in 75 cups of flour, flour is where? Top or bottom? It's on the bottom, so that's where the 75 is going to go. How many tablespoons of milk must the chef use? So we don't know how much milk. Okay, let's go ahead and do cross products. 15 is across from X, and 10 is a diagonally across from the 75. Bring down your 15X equals 10 times 75 is 750. Divide both sides by 15. 15 divided by 15 is 1, so you have 1X. And 750 divided by 15, go ahead and work that out, and you get 50. Okay, what were we talking about? It was the amount of milk. So tablespoons of milk. For this one, you actually could have done the shortcut because you can go 15 times something to get 75, right? So move towards the direction of your unknown. So 15 times what is 75? 5. So then 10 times 5 is 50. And that would have been all the work you needed to show for that one. Okay, but either way, as long as you got to 50, you're good. All right, on to number 47. Number 47 says bars of soap come in packages of 5 and packages of 12. The 5-pack costs $5.95 and the 12-bar pack costs $14.40. Which is the better deal? What's the price per bar of the better deal? Okay, so we're basically finding the unit rate. So you have what's the cost of just one bar? Because it said price per bar. So it's $5.95 for 5 or $14.40 for 12 bars. So to find the unit rate, you want to divide by whatever the denominator is. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 5, and whatever you do to the denominator, do to the top. Go ahead and work that out. Press pause, work it out. Okay, now you come back with us, and you got that it's $1.19 per bar for this one. Okay, this one, what should you divide both by to find the unit price? Divide by 12. Okay, pause it, work it out. And now you unpaused it, you're back with us. 1440 divided by 12, you should have gotten $1.20 per bar. Okay, because it's $1.20 on top and 12 divided by 12 is 1. So you have $1.20 per 1 bar. Which one's the better rate? You'd rather spend $1.19 than $1.20. So the $5.95 for 5 is actually a better deal than $14.40 for 12. And how much is it per bar? $1.19. Okay. If you were struggling with long division, here's how you would do it. Okay. When you did $5.95 divided by 5, the number on top goes inside and the number on bottom goes outside. Bring up your decimal because there's no decimal here, so I don't need to move it. Just bring it straight up. 5 goes into 5 once. Bring down the 9. 5 goes into 9 once. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract that, you get 4. Bring down your 5. And 5 goes into 45 9 times. Okay, that's where the $1.19 came from when we did $5.95 divided by 5. For your other one, when you did $14.40 divided by 12, okay, again, there's no decimal here in the divisor, so then I can just move straight on to dividing, so bring that decimal up. 12 can't go into 1, but it can go into 14 once. Subtract that, you get 2. Bring down your 4. 12 goes into 24 twice. Subtract that, you get 0. Bring down a 0, and 12 goes into 0 0 times. 0 times 12 is 0. There you go. So it was $1.20 per bar. That's where this one came from. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to number 48. Number 48 says write 3/4 as a percent. What do you think? Okay, well, I could change a fraction to a decimal, take the top divided by the bottom. Okay, 4 can't go into 3, so add a decimal and a 0, but 4 can go into 30 7 times. 4 times 7 is 28. When you subtract that, you get 2. Bring down another 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. So what is 3/4 as a decimal? It's 0.75. That's great, but they said they wanted it as a percent. So to make a decimal become a percent, you move it 2 to the right. So it's 1, 2 to the right, puts it right there. So it's 75%. That's one way to do it. Another way you could have done it is percent always means out of 100. So can you make this denominator become 100? Yeah, if you multiply it by 25. So do the same thing on top. 3 times 25 is 75. So 75 over 100 is 75%. Either way, as long as you got to 75%, you're good. Okay, number 49. 49 says 31 is what percent of 60? So this is one of those is over of equals percent over 100 again. Okay, this number is always 100. And then the easiest one to figure out is the percent. So it says, again, what percent? So we don't know the percent, so that's unknown. And then 31 is, so that 31 goes here. What percent of 60? So the 60 goes there. Okay, now that we have this, let's go ahead and do our cross products. 60 times x, those are diagonally across from each other, so multiply those. Set that equal to these cross products, 31 times 100. 31 times 100 is 3,100. And to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by that number in front of x, which is 60. Because 60 divided by 60 is 1, so now you have 1x. And whatever you do to one side, do to the other. Those zeros cancel, so now you just have 310 divided by 6. That might be a little bit easier. Go ahead and pause it, work it out. Okay, 6 can't go into 3, but it goes into 31 5 times. That's 30. Subtract that, you get 1. Bring down a 0. 6 goes into 10 once. When you subtract that, you get 4. There's nothing else to bring down. So add a decimal and a 0. Now bring a 0 down. 6 goes into 40 how many times? 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. You're going to subtract that. You get 4. Bring down another 0. 6 goes into 36. Or 6 goes into 40 6 times because that's 36 again. And I think you're starting to see a pattern, right? This is going to keep happening. It said it wanted it rounded to the 10th if it was needed, like if the number is going to keep going. So to get it to the 10th, look at the number behind it. This 6 tells this 6 to go up by 1. So instead of staying a 1, instead of staying 6, now it's a 7. And then that just stays 51. Okay, so again, if the number behind the one you're focusing on, if the number behind it is 4 or below, that would have stayed a 6. If the number behind it was 5 or above, that number goes up by 1. And that's why that 6 went up to a 7. Okay, we were solving for a percent as my unknown, so don't forget your percent sign. 51.7%. All right, our last question, number 50, says add and express your answer in simplest form. So you have 6 1/3, and I'm going to add it to 3 4/5. And since I'm adding, I want to rewrite them vertically because when you add, you always need to get common denominators. And what is the common denominator of 3 and 15? What can they, 3 and 5, what can they both become? 15. Okay. And what did you multiply the 3 by to become 15? You multiplied it by 5. So do the same thing on top. 1 times 5 is 5. For the bottom, what did you multiply 5 by to become 15? 3. So do the same thing on top. 4 times 3 is 12. Now that you have the same denominators, and I can do this because 5/15 reduces to 1/3. It's the same fraction. And 12/15 reduces to 4/5. It's the same fraction. I just rewrote them with 15 as the common denominator. So you can keep the denominators the same and add your numerators of 5 and 12, which is 17. Don't forget your whole numbers. 6 plus 3 is 9. Now I can't leave it like this because 17 over 15 is improper. So it's 9 plus whatever 17 over 15 is. So the top divided by the bottom. 15 goes into 17 once, and 1 times 15 is 15. 17 minus 15 is 2, so put your remainder over what you divided by. So 9 plus 17 over 15 is the same thing as 1 and 2/15. So 9 plus 1 is 10, and tack on that 2/15. Can you reduce 2/15? Nope. So that's your final answer. If you got all these right, congratulations, Munchkins. If not, again, please star them, draw attention to them so you can ask about them in class. And you can also look on Khan Academy. Khan Academy, and type in the specific subject of the ones you want more help on, and they have videos and extra practice. And another way to get extra practice is type in CUDA worksheet into Google, CUDA. So type in whatever topic it is that you want more practice on. Like I need to know how to divide with decimals or to change a fraction to a percent. Okay, whatever your little heart desires of what you want more practice with, type the topic plus the word CUDA worksheet with answers, and then into Google, and then you'll get several. Pick the one that you like, try some of the problems, and then check yourself on the answers there. All right. Congratulations, my little mathematicians.